Hi, I'm Katie Alexander, the Davis County Family and Consumer Sciences Extension Agent, and myself and Amanda Hardy, the Henderson County Family and Consumer Science Agent, are bringing to you the Plated Up Kentucky Proud Homemaker lesson. We're going to go over what it is, how it got started, buying local, and all the benefits and things that have come from this program. So before we get started, you should have some handouts on the Plated Up Kentucky Proud. 10 reasons to buy locally grown food. The Kentucky Proud Produce tells you when things are in season. And then, of course, as always, there is an evaluation that we'd appreciate you all filling out and getting back to your extension office or getting to Henderson or Davis County to Amanda or I. Okay, so this is the Plated Up Kentucky Proud program that we are going to go over. Did you know cost of transporting food transportation is among the biggest and fastest growing sources of greenhouse emissions worldwide? A basic diet, so meat, grain, fruits, and vegetables composed of important ingredients can easily require 4 times the energy and emissions of an equivalent diet with ingredients from local sources. A transcontinental head of lettuce grown in California and shipped across country requires about 36 times as much fossil fuel energy in transport as it provides in food energy when it arrives. The average food item in America now travels at least 1,491 miles from farm to plate. The average diesel fuel cost for transporting America's food has increased 61% from 2009 to 2013. So some reasons to buy locally grown food. We have, of course, locally grown food tastes better. It supports local families. Local food builds trust. Local food shows you are Kentucky proud. Local food preserves farmland, and it also keeps taxes down, and it can benefit the environment and wildlife. So it also, local food is going to travel shorter distances from farm to plate, and so it's going to preserve the genetic diversity, and it's also an investment in our future. So buy local, go green, buy local. Times have changed. No longer are we promoting buying produce in order of fresh, frozen, then canned. Now we promote buying locally fresh, picked at its peak produce. Frozen produce would be the second choice, followed by imported fresh and then canned. And of course, buying fresh, locally grown produce means it's picked at its prime and it's in your local supply within hours instead of days. So some options for assessing food locally. You can grow your own personal or community gardens. You pick operations like you pick blueberries, you pick strawberries, where someone else, lets you on their farm and you pick your produce. And of course, farmers market, you can visit those, roadside stands, and then local grocery stores or convenience marts that feature locally grown products. So building a healthy plate, we're going to go over kind of the history of the USDA food recommendations. So back in 1916, the United States Department of Agriculture Farmers Bulletin 717, which is presented there on the left, that is the first official documents to separate foods into 5 food groups: milk and dishes made chiefly from it, meat, fish, poultry, eggs, and meat substitute, and then breads and other cereal foods, butter and other wholesome fats, vegetables and fruits, and simple sweets. And it suggests that, younger children ages 3 to 6 need at least 1 food from each of these food groups each day. This was written by Caroline Hunt, who worked for the Office of Home Economics. Then we go to the Basic 7 Wheel. This was 1943. And these are the food groups. leafy green and yellow vegetables, citrus fruit, tomatoes, raw cabbage, potatoes and other vegetables and fruit, milk, cheese, ice cream, meat, poultry, fish, eggs, dried peas and beans, and then breads, flour, cereals, whole grain, enriched or restored, and then butter and fortified margarine. And then we go to the Food for Fitness, a daily food guide, basic 4 in 1956. And this is what it looked like. So in 1956, the United States Department of Agriculture condensed the basic 7 into 4 food groups. Milk group, meat group, which included dried beans, dried peas, nuts as an alternate, and then vegetable and fruit group, and your bread cereal group. Specific amounts were given for each group, and it did not include guidance for fats and sugar. And then 1992 came along the Food Guide Pyramid. And this was, of course, developed by the USDA in 1992. It separated fruits and vegetables to make 6 food groups, and it provided a range of servings rather than a minimum. And it focused on variety by showing multiple options for foods in each group. Then 2005 came the My Pyramid. So this replaced the hierarchy of foods with wedges to represent the equal importance of each food group. The fats, oils, and sweets from the previous pyramid are replaced by the oils group. A 7th group, discretionary calories, which is your fats and added sugars, is represented by the apex of the pyramid. It also introduced physical activity to food guides. So it used the colors for each food group and then had them all equal instead of the other pyramid. And it also includes your steps on the side. So that was in 2005. In 2011, we got the My Plate, a very practical approach to daily food consumption and can be understood by all ages. And on the plate, you can see it's divided 50% is fruits and vegetables, and then your other side is your dairy, grains, and protein. It was developed, like I said, in 2011, based on the guidelines from the 2010 dietary guidelines. And it returns to the 5 food groups. The oils and discretionary calories, as well as physical activity, are removed. And it's shaped like a plate, so it's more of a visual cue for people when they can look at their plate and compare it to the My Plate. So this one's more visually enhanced for consumers to use. So now the Plated Up Kentucky Proud. It is a nutrition education partnership developed to collectively combat obesity by targeting increased fruit and vegetable consumption through broader product access from locally grown Kentucky Proud producers. The need for the project grew from extension agents' limited access to healthy recipes to meet the consumer's desire to prepare more nutritious meals for their family. Overweight and obesity levels have risen dramatically in the state and relate back to consumption of high fats and sedentary lifestyles. The project is extension agent driven partnership with the School of Human Environmental Sciences and the Kentucky Department of Agriculture. The project received statewide media recognition and accolades as the focus of the 2011 Kentucky State Fair Opening Day Commodity Breakfast Program, sponsored by the Kentucky Department of Agriculture and the UK College of Agriculture, Food and Environment, for 495 producers, the Kentucky governor, and state legislators. The partnership has resulted in long-term Family and Consumer Sciences Extension Program funding and sustainment for consumer education initiatives. So the goal was to develop the sustainability of the local food systems for healthier family lifestyles. And then, of course, the objectives for this project was to increase consumer purchase and preparation of locally grown and value-added foods, to reduce obesity rates by targeting increased consumption of fruits and vegetables, increase consumer awareness of the Kentucky Proud brand benefits, and develop seasonal educational resources to enhance Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service Nutrition Education Program. So, of course, the project has partners, and one of the big partners is the Kentucky Department of Agriculture. Funding is based with USDA Specialty Crop Consumer Education Grants, more than $200,000 since the program began. Public Consumer Recipe Database site, and of course the KentuckyProud.com where you can find the recipes. So project partner roles, of course, the UK Cooperative Extension Service, overall project development and facilitation, joint coordination with recipe development and research education processes, and resource development, marketing, events and the media, and of course, consumer education. And then the University of Kentucky College of Agriculture School of Human Environmental Sciences, their roles was the recipe modification, technical analysis, and project impact evaluations, student engagement, and research value of sampling. I'm going to turn it over to Amanda, and she's going to go over more of the actual process of finding the recipes, selecting them, and getting them to the final end product of what you see today of the Kentucky Proud plated up Kentucky Proud recipe cards.
Hi, I'm Amanda Hardy. I am the Family Consumer Science Agent in Henderson County, as Katie was saying. And so today I'm going to talk about how to plate it up Kentucky Proud recipes that are selected and developed. Agents send recipes to the Plated Up Kentucky Proud Committee based on the need for specific commodity groups. They reference the newspaper copy sent in this form and review the factors that make this recipe less healthy, high fat, sodium, carbs, etc. So committee reviews the recipe and makes priority selections based on commodity and seasonal representation. So recipes are submitted for modification by students enrolled in the DHN 304 Experimental Foods in the School of Human Environmental Sciences. Instructors facilitate students in selection and modification process. So they're in the laboratory in this picture showing the recipes. So students' role. Here are going to put some of these up here. So here are the critical requirements. So flavor, whether it's got a great taste and is required with healthy changes. And then accessible ingredients. Kentucky commodities and recipe additions must be available at farmers markets, as well as general grocery stores such as Kroger, Walmart, Meijer, Dollar General, Food Lion, and others. So basically throughout the state. And then here are a few more on the screen. Okay, so simple process and instructions. The recipe card has limited space. Consumers are conscious of time limitations, so that's a huge one. Appetizing appearance and name. Does the name even sound enticing? Does the food color and textures encourage you to try it? And then cost of the recipe. How much will it cost the consumer to prepare this recipe at home? Is it affordable? After the students modify a recipe is presented at a tasting panel of agents, instructors, and consumers who review the recipes for nutritional value and sample the products for taste and presentation. And you can see in this picture, several agent specialists that are sitting around the table, and they're actually checking out, doing it looks like a survey to see what they think of this recipe. You may recognize some of those people. So the best overall recipes are selected with suggested changes. Students modify based upon the information and presents to agents for retesting and resource development. Agents critique and retest best recipes with students, faculty, and focus groups. So will this fit on the recipe card? What benefit will this bring to the consumer? And in which season will this recipe best fit? So once the recipe is selected, the committee will determine if it will go on for printing or will be posted on the website as a plated up recipe, Kentucky Proud recipe card. Media scripts and demonstration guides are written for each recipe. Here's a sample of before a recipe is created to after. You can tell it's really been cleaned up, has a real pretty picture on it, also has the Kentucky Proud label as well. So there are quite a few modifications just in the way the recipe looks. Local distribution. So plated up Kentucky Proud recipes are tested and developed for corresponding seasons throughout the year. So here's the one on watermelon tomato salad, and you can tell even on the back, it's got information about the season, the nutrition facts, the selection, storage, and preparation of this recipe, and just of watermelon in general. Then there's the local education. Over 500,000 recipe card resources have been distributed through Kentucky State Fair programs, cooperative extension demonstrations, consumer education exhibits, local food stores, farmers market demonstrations, community-supported agriculture, cooking shows, FNAP and SNAP-Ed programs. So these are several pictures of SNAP assistants and agents across the state, doing sampling for these recipes. Again, statewide media and events. It has increased profitability opportunities through recipe card distribution for commodity producers. Consumers are provided recipes for commodities sold at food venues. So again, here are some different media outsources. There's one of agents at the state fair. They're in the Kentucky Monthly, and then even having different booths at food shows. So World Wide Web access is, and that should be www.kyproud.com. So there's an extra W in there that is missing. The recipe development and adaptation for Kentucky grown fruits and vegetables. You can refer to plated up Kentucky Proud recipe versus a traditional version. Plated up Kentucky Proud recipe cards are available at your county extension service. And then again, you can go on this website, but include another W on that. So social media, you can always like us on Facebook. Again, it is under UK Plated Up. And then there's additional resources. So Plated Up Kentucky Proud provides farm to plate connection between hardworking and dedicated Kentucky farm families and the Kentucky Proud grown or processed products. If you grow your own garden, contact your local extension office for more information on soil testing and ask for the publication, which is ID 128, Home Vegetable Gardening in Kentucky. And again, like us on Facebook. Plated Up Kentucky Proud provides access to selected recipes and allows you to share ideas for meals using the recipes. You can also see videos on there of current recipes being done and actually showing you step-by-step how to do these recipes. Also, again, stop by your local extension office to pick these cards up. So, Plated Up Kentucky Proud, get all of these up here, okay, enhances the opportunity for safer food supply, reduced fossil fuel emissions, healthy and tasteful recipes, and economic support for Kentucky food growers in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. So, Plated Up is a win-win, and definitely great recipes, great supporting our local farmers. And, if you grow your own gardens, you can actually have recipes for what you're growing. So if you have any questions or need any more information, please don't hesitate to contact your local extension office. And everyone knows what Plated Up Kentucky Proud means in the extension offices. So join in and get you some recipes and start cooking. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Katie Alexander, the Davis County Family Consumer Sciences agent, and I'm gonna make the asparagus ham quiche, and it is one of our Plated Up Kentucky Proud recipes. One of the early ones back when the program started, and since it's March, so asparagus is going to be coming in season. Usually in April, asparagus and strawberries are two of our earliest produce that comes in season here in Kentucky. So this is a really easy recipe, one you can do up ahead of time. The recipe makes 2 quiche, so you'll have 2 about 8 or 9 inch pie pans of ham and asparagus quiche. So you can make it up ahead of time and have it later for an easy breakfast, brunch, lunch, anytime. Because it's got a lot of your food groups. It's got your eggs, and of course asparagus and ham and onions and cheese. So just add a side of fruit with it and you would have a complete meal. So we're going to get started. It is basically a pound of asparagus cut in about half-inch pieces or bite-sized pieces. I've already blanched the asparagus. I cut it up, washed it off, cut it up, and then cut it into bite-sized pieces to put into the quiche. You can tell it's bright green. This one has not been blanched. And blanching, basically, you heat it up bright green, and then you're going to cool it really quick to stop the cooking process. And that way it'll stay nice and tender in the quiche. So we've already got it already blanched up, so we're going to leave it here cooling. I did cut off about an inch or so on the end, especially if it's a more of a mature piece of asparagus. You might cut off a little bit more because that can be kind of tough. So I just, slice it and then just slice it in about bite-sized half-inch piece. So I've already got mine done. The next thing we're going to do is it takes a cup of finely chopped ham, which you can use whatever ham you have on hand. I just bought some ham from the deli back in the meat area. It's just a cooked ham. If you like the smoked flavor, you could use it as well. But I've already cut it just into little bite-sized pieces to get about a cup. You have about a cup of the ham, and then you'll also have 1 small onion chopped into bite-sized pieces. And what we're going to do, I need to cut a little more onion. Cut this. We'll cut it into small sizes because you are going to put the ham and onions in a skillet and let it cook till golden brown, and then it's going to go into the quiche. So there is our onion. We'll get our cup. And then we're going to add the onion and the ham to a skillet, preheated skillet. It's a non-stick. Just going to dump both of them in there. You're just going to let that heat up until it's, like I said, golden brown. Just cooked a little bit. And then we'll add it to our pie chips. We'll let that. While that's doing that, we need to put an egg wash on our pie crust. Now, if you want to make homemade pie crust, that's great. It is really easy to do, but you can also just buy frozen or the rollout pie crust. So I have just 2 frozen pie crust. And I've already beat just an egg white, not the yolk, just the white. And you just beat it a little bit before you just put it on with a pastry brush. So we're just gonna put a little bit on each pie shell, the edges and the bottom. And while you're doing all this, be sure and preheat your oven to 400 degrees. That way it'll already be nice and warm, ready to bake. Okay, we'll do our second one, because like I said, this recipe makes 2 pie shells. All right, got those coated. We've got our ham. So while we're letting the ham and onions heat up, we're going to mix up our batter, the middle filling, whatever you want to call it. It takes 4 eggs. I'm going to add those here. And then a third a cup of, it calls for 1% milk. You could use, the milk you have on hand. 1% is just a little less fat. Quarter of a teaspoon of nutmeg. That in there as well. And then 1 5.3 ounce little cup of plain Greek yogurt. Add that in. And you're going to beat all this together so your eggs are well beaten and everything is mixed. Also calls for a 1/4 teaspoon, 1/4 teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. I'm going to add that in and then just get that mixed in with the rest of it. And then that's your filling. Your egg is ready. So now the ham and onion is pretty much, the onion is golden brown color. So you're going to put half in each pie shell. Like I said, makes 2. So I'm just going to kind of divide it in half in the skillet. Put half of it in this one. Kind of scatter it out. And then the other half in this one. Scatter it out. All right. Then you're going to add your asparagus, about half in each one. And if you want to make the pieces smaller, that's fine. Whatever works. You're making it. This is one of those where you can kind of make it how you like it. Because like I would add some mushrooms, or you could add spinach or something to it for some more green, some more extra vitamins from the veggies. But asparagus is full of vitamins and minerals that are really good for you. All right, so there we go. So we have our asparagus, our ham, our onions, and of course you can't have quiche without cheese. So this is about 2 cups of mild cheddar cheese. If you prefer sharp cheddar, different type of cheese, you can use that. So I'm going to do about half in this one till it's about covered. And if you don't want it real cheesy, you could always cut back on it as well. So have that covered, and then we'll do the other one. Of course, we didn't mention it before, but you all know before you make anything, you always wash your hands. Food safety, especially if you're going to be using your hands like this for the food. There. So cheese, and then we add in our egg mixture, about half on each one. So a little bit on that, a little bit over here. Get it about even. It'll seep through and bake all around it. You will definitely get the ham and the asparagus, which is the highlight of this quiche. If you like to be exact, you could always pour this out into 2 individual cups, measure it evenly, but I'm just going back and forth, half and half. Get it all on there. And then they're going to go in the oven for about 25 to 30 minutes, like I said, in a preheated 400-degree oven. Let them bake uncovered. And then when they're done, you've got 2 beautiful quiche. I'll actually show you. We'll pop these in the oven. This will be your final product. A nice asparagus ham quiche. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Amanda Hardy, and I'm the Family Consumer Science Extension Agent in Henderson County. And today, I'm going to show you how to make an easy Asian asparagus salad. This is one of our plated up recipes, and it is very simple and very delicious. So we're going to get started. I have all my ingredients already pre-measured, and of course, it calls for asparagus. Now, I have already blanched my asparagus for about 3 minutes. And what that basically means is I have put it in a pot to steam. So I have a pot and then I have another pot on top of it. So I'm going to show you real quick. So it is this pot. And then it has another pot that has like a strainer to it. And you put water in the bottom of it. And then you put your veggies in top and let that steam. So this is a steamer. And then you get them out and you put them in a bowl with a little bit of ice water underneath. So that is what is happening now. I've already blanched and now I am ready to start my salad. Now, I want to tell you real quick about asparagus. Asparagus is a little different in the means of how you prepare it. This is asparagus that has not been cooked. So I don't know if you can tell on the screen, this one has been cooked, this one has not. The greener means that it's more done, it's blanched. This one, it's harder. Now, with asparagus, the ends are typically really hard and they're hard to chew. So what we normally do is we say cut them off. So each one just kind of depends. I kind of cut about that much off. Now, it depends on the person. Some people won't cut it off at all, but I like for mine to be tender, so I cut it off. So this is what it leaves, okay? With this salad, it calls for it to be chopped up. Now, I did not chop it up when I put it in the steamer. You can go on and pre-chop it, or you can wait till it's finished. So we're going to chop this up real quick. Use my bowl so you can see. I've got a cutting board over here that I'm cutting it on, and I'm just going to do about an inch cut for all of it. Just like this, if you can see that. So we're cutting about that much off, and then we're gonna make our salad with it. Okay. So it'll take me just a second to get all this chopped up. This is one of the easiest recipes that we have in Plated Up because it doesn't call for many ingredients and doesn't take very long to prepare. I'm gonna take some more, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Put all these in the bowl. Get this done real quick. We've got one more little step. And like I said, you can do this ahead of time or you can wait till you're ready for your recipe. Over here. I don't want to leave any of the good asparagus sitting out. Okay, so we've got our asparagus ready to go. our recipe calls for about a pound of asparagus. That's about what this is. Then it calls for soy sauce, sugar, sesame seed, and olive oil. That's it. And we're going to make a good salad. So the next thing we do, we have already blanched and cut. It's cooled. And now we're going to combine all the other ingredients into the bowls. That's all we're going to do is include all these ingredients. So it calls for 2 teaspoons of sugar, or you can substitute this for a sugar substitute. It calls for 1.5 tablespoons of low sodium soy sauce. It calls for a tablespoon of olive oil. And good old sesame seed, 2 teaspoons. Okay, and then we're going to stir this up, give this a good little toss. One good thing is asparagus is ready between April and May. So this is one veggie that's going to be ready pretty quick. We'll be in April before we know it. Also, asparagus is a good source of vitamin A and folic. Okay, so we've got this made. It smells amazing. So just to show you a picture of what it looks like. That smell is awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it in a gallon Ziploc bag, and we want it to marinate for a little while. So we're going to put it in this bag and let it marinate for, however long you have. If you've got some time, let it marinate for about 10 to 15 minutes. If, if you want to prepare it for dinner that night, that's fine. The longer it sits, the more it marinates. Now, you don't want to do it. I probably wouldn't do it a day ahead of time just because you don't want the asparagus to start getting soggy. So we've got this in our Ziploc bag. Get all the air out. I think I closed it before I got the air out. Okay, all the air out. And then we're going to kind of lay it flat just so every piece, and I'll show you this, just so every piece has a coating. Doesn't that look really delicious? So we're going to put this in the refrigerator, let it sit for about 15 minutes, get it out, have a nice, good asparagus salad. So if you have any more questions, contact us.